Today is April 1st. That means it's Cheap Trick Day in Illinois. So very special guest joining me, Daxx Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
Good morning, everybody.
How you doing, buddy?
So good.
It's been a while.
It's been too long. You know, you're such a busy man that you can't have me in very often. You're always traveling and playing gigs.
I know, man. I'm on tour. I've got all these shows going on, making music,
Got two little
recording
kids.
music.
You're
Yeah,
a busy guy.
the whole thing. Well, let's talk about it because you haven't been around for a while. 2018 was another crazy year for Cheap Trick.
Yeah, I mean, where do I begin? I guess January. I think we did last year. We went to Australia and Japan and the UK and recorded another album that isn't out yet. Four albums in 3 years.
That's incredible.
Makes sense, right?
Like you see some of these bands, it takes them 6, 8, 10 years to do an album, and you guys are doing them a couple of a year.
It's just fun just to record music and write music, and people don't necessarily care if the band puts an album out, but they appreciate when we do.
And it's good stuff. The stuff you guys are it's as good as it's ever been.
I agree. That last album, We're All Right, I listen to now and again. I'm like, man, this could have been put out any time in the band's career, and just some cool tunes and with energy and pizzazz, and I just said pizzazz.
And you're one of those bands where you can play the new stuff and people love it.
We do.
The fans are like, they want it.
We try to, say we have 90 minutes, we try to put in at least 10 minutes of new material, 25 minutes of hits, and then the rest is just whatever we feel like playing that day,
Right.
Which a lot of it, maybe we'll do 4 songs off the current 3 albums or whatever. And,
right.
If you're not playing the hit, then who cares if you're playing a song off this album or that album? You don't have to just play songs everybody knows.
Right, and you guys do a great job of mixing it up each show. You don't do the same set every time.
It's so fun every night.
You don't know what's going to happen. When you go see Cheap Trick, you don't know what you're going to. You're going to get the hits, big, and of course, that's a great way to. I go see you guys, and you end the show with like all of them.
We purposely put all the hits at the end because, if somebody bought a ticket to hear "I Want You to Want Me" and we played it first, they'd be like, "Cool, you want to go grab dinner?" No, you're gonna listen to this new album of ours, and then we'll play "I Want You to Want Me" at the very end. I promise.
And let's see, you did a lot of shows on your own. You did the Poison tour. You did some Def Leppard Journey shows.
Yes, we did Def Leppard in the UK. We did, I think, 22 shows in December.
Wow.
And there's only 31 days in December, so 25 weekdays.
I didn't know there were that many places in the UK to play.
When you play with Def Leppard, you find them. But we actually played in their hometown the day that they announced that they were getting in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, nice.
So they were so pumped, and just everybody was excited, and the hometown crowd was just insane, and
playing with some guys that had to wait a while. It seems like that would be a cool thing to be around those guys after they had waited years.
I saw Rick kind of his chest was a little puffed up a bit walking down down the hall to say hey to the boys and congrats, Cheap Trick I don't think they ever thought they were going to get in. It wasn't even on their brain. It was like, there's so many bands that are just, when you think of 96.7 The Eagle, you're going to hear AC/DC, Aerosmith, bands that are guaranteed to, Cheap Trick, maybe.
Oh, we all knew.
When you think of classic rock, you think of a lot of other bands first, and then at least I thought that was the way it was. I think they did too,
Right. I think after so many years, you kind of like, okay, well, I guess maybe it's not going to happen.
They were eligible, I think, 15, 16 years.
Right.
And just never even got on the ballot, on the final.
Right. And once they did.
The first year they did.
Yeah, it was boom.
Yep.
We're in. I'm talking to Daxx Nielsen from Cheap Trick. Today is Cheap Trick Day, so we're celebrating. We're playing Cheap Trick songs all day long, every hour. So big 2018. Now we get into 2019. How's the year been so far? It's
been slow so far.
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna say
a little bit of R&R. Everybody's getting, as you can hear from my voice, everybody's getting over some coughs and some colds, and we're about to go hit it hard. Starting in May, we're going to hit it all through the rest of the year.
And the good thing is, if you're a Cheap Trick fan, Cheap Trick shows where it's just you, because you've done these package shows. So now we're getting you to ourselves.
Yes, this summer for the majority of the time we're doing all headlining shows. just Cheap Trick at casinos and state fairs and theaters and bar mitzvahs. Whatever you want us to do, we'll be there. We're doing, I guarantee we'll do 100 shows this year, like every year, if not more. But it's been a slow little spring, which has been nice to hang out with the kids and with my wife, and been frozen inside of her house for
they're like
3 months.
Who's this guy here?
This guy? I know. I grew a beard for a while. And my kids were like, when I shaved it, they thought I was somebody else. Oh, that's Daddy. Daddy's back.
It's nice when the weather gets like that to be able to, not be on the road.
I think that's why we live here. We like the punishment of how nice it is finally when you can go outside in May or March, whatever. It's like literally, you find new parts of your house that you didn't know existed. Or, new cobwebs to clean when you can't leave.
When you have a house, all those updates and chores and everything that you normally don't get to do.
Everything just seems to break when it's negative 35. Our pipes froze for the first time this year. That was fun.
Oh man, that is not fun.
They didn't burst. Thank goodness.
That's good.
Oh, that could have been a nightmare.
For all of us, we were used to winter, but this one was overly
It never
brutal.
stopped. And we had everything. We had freezing rain. We had 13 inches of snow in one day. We had, sideways ice rain or whatever that stuff is.
Could you imagine
the White Walkers were crawling through our windows.
Trying to be on the road and doing a tour during that?
That's typically why Cheap Trick at least doesn't. I don't know how. What are those guys called? Trans-Siberian Orchestra?
Oh, yeah.
They only tour in winter. Are you insane? You have chains on your bus wheels?
And they do every day, 2 shows a day.
2 shows, matinees, 3 o'clock and a 7 o'clock. They're also making boatloads of white cash, frozen snow money.
Good morning, I'm Double T. Joining me on Cheap Trick Day, it's Daxx Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
Good morning.
So, before your time in Cheap Trick, you played with some other people. Obviously, I think a lot of people around here know you played with your brother in Harmony, Riley, and you guys, how many years was Harmony Riley together?
I think 7, 97 to 2004.
And then after that, you moved to L.A., and you started playing with other people.
Right.
And recently, some of that has been up in the news.
Yeah.
So the first gig you had after you left Rockford?
I moved to Los Angeles, and my friend Todd Trent, who is now my drum tech all these years later, he used to be the A&R guy for Ludwig Drums. I called him, and I said, what should I do? He said, get a job. Get a real 9-to-5. So he hooked me up with a job working at a place that rented musical equipment to artists. He said, get a job because you probably won't get a gig for at least 6 months.
Right.
Realistically, that pays anything. He's a smart man.
Yeah.
So I always listen to him. And that's, my first gig, realistically, that went on tour was a guy called Dick Dale.
The surf guitar king.
The king of the surf guitar, yeah. He invented a sound. Him and Leo Fender from Fender Guitars created amps that didn't exist because he wanted the loudest, most reverbed out stuff. And he changed the world for musical instruments, for guitar especially. And I played for him for a couple of years, and he passed away a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago, I should say.
And famous for having his music in Pulp Fiction.
Yes, and that long story short is that he was basically the biggest artist in the world until the Beatles happened, and then he had zero career. Surf music was such a thing, and then the Beatles came out, and it ended that whole scene. And then, 30 years, 40 years later, Quentin Tarantino put his song in a movie, and he instantly became, a household name again with surf fans or the rockabilly crowd.
Yeah, yeah.
Anybody that liked Brian Setzer was like, oh, that's right. Dick Dale created the reverb sound, So
right, and the cool thing was you did a show with him here at Kryptonite.
I think we did 2, but
okay.
I think we played here twice.
I think you're right.
His best friend Jerry. His best friend Jerry, I'll never forget. My best friend Jerry's from Rockford. What a small world. Here's Dick Dale out in 29 Palms, California. I tell him I'm from Rockford, Illinois, and he goes, my best friend in the whole world lives there. Of course he does. Rockford is everywhere.
So it was cool. So you did a show at Kryptonite twice with legendary Dick Dale.
Yeah.
That's
that was
awesome.
That was kind of that was the first time I ever felt like I kind of had achieved what I went to Los Angeles to do, to quote unquote make it,
Right.
Like I was
Become
on
a professional
tour. I was a professional
musician.
drummer that came on tour, and I played my hometown.
That's awesome. And then there's another artist you played with that's had some success lately.
Yeah, I played for one of the next artists I went out to play for was a girl named Brandi Carlisle. Who
She won a few awards lately.
She won 3 Grammys this a couple months ago, and I was telling you off the air that for 10 years now I've had my resume, besides Cheap Trick was Dick Dale and Brandi Carlisle, and nobody ever knew who they were apparently. And then Dick passes away, and everybody's going, "Oh, the king!" I was like, "Yeah, that's right. Oh, you played for him." And then Brandi wins all these Grammys. Like, "Oh, I thought you played for the girl from the Go-Go's, Belinda Carlisle." Like, nope.
Yeah, people do get that confused though.
In the last few months, my resume has been boosted by some success and some heartbreak.
Yeah, and she, you said she won 3 Grammys, and she's going on that big tour this summer with Hart and Joan Jett.
Hart is opening for her, I'm sorry, she's opening for Hart, and I can't believe Sheryl Crow's opening for Hart too. Like,
yeah,
we were on the tour with Hart when it imploded. The sisters stopped speaking to each other. It was quite the day. It was in Seattle actually that when it all.
Right.
I don't know if you know the story, but Google it. I don't want to be the one to tell people.
Right. But I remember they had a falling out like
I'd
sisters
say,
do.
I'd say so, yeah. And that was in Seattle, and it was towards the beginning of the tour, and we had like probably 6 to 8 weeks to go. And
was it awkward?
Not for us, but for them, yeah. They didn't speak except for when they were at meet and greet and on stage. It was that you saw the machine is bigger than the people.
Yeah, of course.
It was fun to watch. It was real rock and roll feud, like
right.
when you hear about siblings or bandmates that don't speak, or Axl and James Hetfield or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the tour must go on,
right?
And then it's been I think a couple years since Hart went on tour.
Yeah,
they both went out separately. Ann Wilson and Nancy had her band called Roadcase Royale, and actually, like some of the band members had to choose who was going with which sister.
Who are you living with? It was divorce court.
The guitar player went with Ann, and the rest of the band I think went with Nancy, kind of thing. Like, and I don't know who's going to play for Hart now because I don't know if there's bad blood with who chose to go with who. Like, man,
that would make an interesting situation. I'm talking to Daxx Nielsen from Cheap Trick. I mean, because you guys tour. I mean, you guys play at least 100 shows a year.
Yes, I'm on my 10th year with the band. I don't think we've ever done less than 100 shows a year.
10 years. Gold watch? Pen? What do you get?
Platinum. I think, right? Platinum.
But could you imagine being in a situation like that where you're with a group of people every day, but you don't get along?
I can't imagine that. I mean, I've worked for artists where they're the boss. So, I mean, you don't have that. I still do. Since since Harmony Riley broke up, I've never been in a band where I was, like a speaking member of anything. So Miles and I used to get in fights. Oh my good Lord. He's so much bigger than me. So I never got in a fist fight with him, but
I can see him holding you down.
Oh, he's scrappy.
With the spit coming down.
Oh yeah. We got in a fight one night at Oscars, he and I.
What?
Against 2 guys.
Okay.
And we won. Nobody got, we definitely won the fight. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hospitalized, thank goodness. Especially us.
Was it like Detroit Rock City where you had your drumsticks in the back pocket and you pulled them out?
Whatever you can create up. Let's just, it was fun. It's the only fight I've ever been in, and it's the only fight I hope to ever be in. But
when the Daxx Nielsen,
I saw Miles get angry, and you don't want to see Miles angry.
Yeah, no kidding. Did his eyes turn white?
His socks fell off. The whole thing. Yeah.
And you know what's so funny is I've heard him tell that story, and the one thing that sticks out in my mind is the pair of pants he was wearing. They were definitely not for fighting or any sort of
that's how it all started.
Physical activity.
He was wearing these pleated, form-fitting, luxurious slacks, and we were sitting at the bar, and this guy behind us was like, "Excuse me," and we didn't know he was talking to us.
Yeah.
And finally, like 3 excuse me's later, Miles turns around, and the guy goes, "I'm from the future. Is wearing women's pants cool back in these days?" Oh, it was the best.
That's a great burn, though.
And Miles turned around, and we proceeded to go outside and beat the snot out of these guys. It was the wrong day to ask Miles about his slack.
Do you have anywhere to go? Do you have time?
I'm here.
All right. Daxx Nielsen's hanging out at Rockford's Home for Classic Rock. What?
Go ahead.
It's Rockford's Home for Classic Rock 96.7 The Eagle.
Heather just texted me.
Are you coming home?
No, the best part of the story is that we were about to go out and fight, and Heather used to work at Oscars.
Oh, okay.
And she goes, "You guys have to pay your tab first." and they did.
Oh, okay.
They signed they were getting their check anyways, I think, and they paid their bill.
Oh.
And then we went out and fought these guys.
Daxx Nielsen hanging out with me. It is Cheap Trick Day today, April 1st. It's been that way for several years.
I think we were asking each other if we knew. It's got to be probably 15 years now that it's
I know it's been a long time.
The state of Illinois made April 1st Cheap Trick Day.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. It's hilarious. It's so funny. Every year I try to remember that somebody's going to prank me about something.
Right.
And I forget most of the time. But...
Oh man, look at this guy coming in.
Straight from the gym.
He wants to challenge you to a flex off. Yeah. Are you in?
You win. You win. You win. Captain Jack.
We talked about, you guys are doing a lot of shows. You're headlining shows most of the year, and we talked a little bit about new music. Is it coming out anytime soon? Or
I don't know. We've got at least 20 songs recorded, and it's a matter of putting it together and finding somebody to put it out, I think.
Okay.
I'm not privy to all that information, and if I was, I couldn't tell you.
Right.
But yeah, we've got all kinds of new
secrecy.
material. I know. I want to get back in the studio. I love recording. It's making new stuff. It's so much fun.
Do you guys have a normal place that you record, or do you do it all over the place?
Cheap Trick's worked with a producer named Julian Raymond for 5 albums now, I think. 6 albums, if not more. And he was based in Los Angeles, but he moved down to Nashville. So Bang, Zoom, Crazy Hello, we started in Los Angeles and finished in Nashville when he moved there. And then the next 2 albums that were released, and then any recordings we've done since have been down in Nashville.
That's kind of like the place now.
It's crazy. I moved there. When I left Los Angeles, I moved to Nashville for a year because I thought, I knew it was going to be huge. And by the time I even got there in 2009 or 10, it was already started.
And all the country artists were already there. Now all the rock people are going there.
And now it's like the #1 bachelorette party capital. It's superseded Vegas. Yeah, right. I don't look like you, Captain Jack. I can't take my shirt off in public.
You're not going to be the guy you're not going to be the drummer that wears a man thong. Yeah, no. Could you imagine, you look at somebody like a guy like Tommy Lee, and he wore the leather man thong while he's playing drums. That can't be comfortable.
I wouldn't know. I remember seeing him backstage, and he was walking around. He had a pair of Chuck Taylors on and a Speedo, whatever, a thong, whatever you call that, banana hammock. And he's got the credentials to wear that. I don't. I wear a baggy pair of boxer shorts around the house.
I'm talking to Daxx Nielsen from Cheap Trick. So Saturday night, I saw you down at the Ice Hogs game.
Yes, my wife and I went on a date to the Ice Hogs.
Wow,
romantic.
That's
lots of fights and nachos, and that was just in our seats. Yeah. Hey-o.
You treated her well. He'll be here all week. But I know you're a big sports fan.
Yes.
Blackhawks, tough year.
Tough few years, yeah. But, I mean, it's with Blackhawks and with the Cubs. I mean, how can you complain when they've won so many championships?
Oh, yeah.
And then, when they're not great, you're like, they're slumping. Like, well, they just won 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years, not too long ago.
And I know you have a little bit of a connection to the Cubs. So,
yes.
First weekend, we shouldn't panic, right?
Pitching's not the greatest so far. We're scoring 8. When I say we, the Cubs are scoring 8 to 10 runs and losing.
Right.
So the offense is there, but the pitching is leaving something to be desired.
How's your arm?
Not good. An athlete I am not.
They might need you.
But I heard June 7th, we've been asked to maybe sing the 7th inning stretch as a band. We're playing Waukegan that night. And I don't know if it's going to happen, but I know we've been invited to sing. So
that's got to be okay. Awesome.
That'll be a bucket lister. It's not something I ever thought I would do, but now that I've heard about it, that's a goal in my life is to go up with Len and sing the 7th inning stretch.
And tell him you need your jersey.
Yeah, I need my Ludwig drums up there in the booth.
And a Cubs jersey with your name on the back.
It's funny. We play lots of state sports arenas and whatnot. And a lot of them give you swag.
Okay.
And they give you these extra large, Nielsen hockey jersey. I'm like, this could fit my entire family in it. What am I ever supposed to do with this? They don't have women's mediums like I would wear.
Right. Well, you got a friend on the radio that's a bigger guy.
I've got lots of stuff. I'll bring it in. It says Nielsen on it, but
I don't care.
Most of the time it's spelled wrong too. Neilson. Oh, thanks.
Where other? You just mentioned Waukegan. Are there any other places close? That
I know we're doing New Lenox,
Okay.
whatever that is. It's next to Old Lenox, apparently. Waukegan. I know we're doing Madison. So we're doing a lot of gigs in the summertime, fall area around here, within an hour of Rockford.
Perfect. So you got plenty of chances to see Rick Nielsen and Daxx Nielsen and Robin Zander and Tom Peterson and the whole gang playing live. And a headlining show is always a good show.
We're doing lots of headlining shows. We're doing some opening slots. We're doing a handful of ZZ Top dates. We're playing with Bad Company. We're doing.
Oh yeah, you're doing the 50th anniversary. In Texas.
In Texas with ZZ and Bad Company. That's gonna be killer.
I saw those shows. I'm like, Dax, do you need a personal assistant that week?
Those are actually our next gigs. May 6th, 17th, 18th, and 19th.
So some time off to relax.
Yes.
Take it easy. Enjoy some time with the family.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Cheap Trick Day with Daxx Nielsen. Well, I'll have you in before you leave on tour. How's that sound?
Great.
All right. It's Rockford's home for Classic Rock 96.7. There you go.